The watchdog is accusing the former officials of violating their fiduciary duties and gross negligence. Among the officials named in the court papers are Brian Molefe, Anuj Singh, and former Public Enterprises Minister Lynn Brown. For more on this, I'm joined by Corruption Watch's Executive Director, David Lewis. Good evening, Dave. Thanks very much for your time. I mean, if successful, what would be the importance of this move?
Well, I think it's widely accepted that holding individuals accountable is the key to tackling corruption and maladministration, punishing them, to call it what it really is. And, everybody seems to think that the only form of punishment comes in the form of a criminal sentence, which is obviously what one wants when there is criminal conduct. And there may be criminal conduct in this case. But this is a sanction that is provided for in the Companies Act and that allows directors to be declared what is referred to as delinquent, which means that we have asked for them not to be permitted to serve on any other board of directors, private or public, in a private company or public company for the next 7 years, and not on a state-owned enterprise for life. If you saw the number of directorships that each of these directors held, you would know that it's a sort of substantial curtailing of their commercial and business life, but as a consequence of their malfeasance in managing the affairs of a public company where they effectively act on behalf of the nation.
Are you also asking them to pay back some of the money?
No, well, that's not part of the remedy that we're entitled to seek in terms of this provision of the Companies Act. When one had absolutely no expectation that the NPA would ever do anything, maybe that's starting to change now, we cast around wherever we could for alternative remedies. So some we referred to the U.S. Department of Justice. Others, we began the process of mounting private criminal prosecutions, and we looked in legislation for ways of holding these accountable. And this seemed to offer one possible way forward at the time. But I think it's a very serious issue because, people who direct companies, who are on the board of directors of companies, owe a duty to the company. They're not there for the board fees, and they're certainly not there for the commercial opportunities that it offers. And this needs to send out a signal, not only to the directors of state-owned enterprises, but look at a company like Steinhoff, for example, but to the directors of big public companies, that you have a solemn and onerous duty to the stakeholders that constitute the company. As I say, in the case of a state-owned enterprise, that's the nation, which I think makes this offence even all the more serious. But, you're there to perform a very onerous task that requires expertise, hard work, and it should be viewed as an honour to serve on a company's board of directors rather than an opportunity to make money.
Well, perhaps they went to the extent that they have been when your Brian Molefes and Anuj Singhs and Lynn Browns were in charge. But Eskom's problems do, predate this crowd.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that they predate them to such a large degree. I mean, I think, yes, there have been problems in the governance of state-owned enterprises, arguably forever, and they are very challenging institutions to develop that sort of balance between paying your own way and meeting the public interest. I've served on one or two state-owned enterprise boards before, and it's a difficult balance to maintain. But I think these people, this board of directors and others who we could not move against in terms of this remedy, have really made the difference between, you might say that corruption didn't begin with Zuma, and it certainly didn't, but it certainly got a hell of a lot worse on his watch, and it got a hell of a lot worse, this situation at Eskom, on the watch of these people.
Now, apart from Eskom, are there other similar SOEs that you also looking doing this with?
This is a test case for us, and if we succeed, we will look at that, and I hope that others will look at it as well. I believe that there may be one such proceeding already in train against Duru Myeni for her tenure at South African Airways. But it is a remedy, and it's an important remedy, because all of these boards have to be reconstituted, and you want them to be reconstituted by people who come to the task with the right attitude and the correct understanding of what it is that is required of them. I mean, we've just seen this whole thing with the PIC now. I mean, now there's an institution that needs an experienced and accomplished board of directors, if ever there was one. And we've just got to get used to the fact that this is not, simply a bit of patronage on the part of a minister or president. It's something you think twice about whether you want to accept or not.
So you'll see this one through first before you decide on who to tackle.
These litigation is always an opportunistic business, and there may be some things that emerge in other companies or even in Eskom that offer as good a route as we think we're on with this one, and we may very well do. But this provision has not been tested often before, and particularly not with respect to state-owned enterprises. So we do want to see this one. It's a complex bit of litigation, and we do want to see this one through.
Okay, that's why we're going to leave it at Dave Lewis. Thanks very much.
Thanks
for coming through. He is, of course, Corruption Watch's Executive Director.